Welcome to Tuesday Talks, everyone. Welcome to our phenomenal webinar that we've been cranking it out since the last 7-8 weeks during the pandemic. And for those of you that are joining us tonight, we're very, very excited that you have. We're going to be getting started. We've got a great program today, and we're going to be making some big announcements as well. So without any further ado, those of you that are joining us for the very first time, we want to welcome you again. And I really want to encourage all of you to take some notes. Right now is a time for you to take some notes, get whatever, memos and whatever you got to do to start taking some notes, okay? So get the notes out and be ready to take some amazing, amazing content that I think will really benefit you. And also tonight, we've got a little special guest that's going to jump in right around 7 o'clock, 7:05-ish. And he's only dropping in for about 10 minutes or something. He's going to say hello, say a couple things, and then I've got the rest of the evening with you guys. So let me go ahead and get started with my PowerPoint presentation here. And let's see, where are we at? Let's get this guy going. All right, so here's my PowerPoint, and I just, let's see, taking a second to, there we go. Yep, we're up and running. All right. So for those of you that are here for the very, very first time, again, I can't tell you how excited we are. I think that the person who invited you or however you heard about our program tonight, whether it's an Instagram or Facebook ad, I think you're in for a wonderful treat. So let's go ahead and get started because I don't have a whole lot of time. I've got about an hour with you guys to share a ton of information. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Some announcements that I want to make here real quickly is this coming Wednesday, I've got something called an orientation class that will really help you understand what it is that our company does. So I want to encourage you to jump on that at 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And if you can't get on at that 2 o'clock then at Pacific Standard Time, then you can go to YouTube and watch it on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, type in John Shin Official, and you'll get a ton of my content that we've been uploading over the last 8 weeks, okay? And then this coming Saturday, we've got a very, very, very special guest this coming Saturday, 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, you got to register for all these events, and every day after I make the announcement that we've got, that you got to register, I get somebody who text messages me and says, what do I got to do again? And so you have to register. Please go to bit.ly/Shintastic Saturday. And don't forget bit, the little period after bit. And then, but I kept on saying bit.ly. And someone told me that you got to just say bit.ly. It's bit.ly/Shintastic Saturday. Again, everything that we do right now is basically complimentary. It's free. There's no charge. People are always asking, like, how much is it for me to dial into all your different webinars? And my answer to them is absolutely free. Okay, so just dial in. We're just here to make sure you guys get a lot of content during these crazy, unprecedented times. And so we're just trying to provide value. This coming Saturday, also May 30th, again, you do have to register for this. It's called bit.ly/AFP/Fast Start. Again, take a picture, if you would, of this so that you can register for these events. Really, really want you to know how valuable it is, the content you're going to get from all these speakers. Now, on this Saturday from 1 to 5, it's not going to be just me speaking. I'm going to bring on some guest speakers. I've got about 5 different speakers coming in. And then, of course, they're going to give you their very best. All right? So go ahead and take pictures of that. Moving on. So for me, just so you guys that are joining us for the very first time and don't know who I am, first of all, my name is John Shin, and I am a serial entrepreneur. I've always been this way, I think, ever since I was, I don't know, 5 years old, right? Learning how to sell candy bars and whatever else around my school to win a contest. And I think I just always embraced the idea of selling something, because I always felt like every time I sold something that I was selling something that I was basically providing some sort of value, right? So I understood the concept of selling is helping, okay? Just like doctors are selling, but they're selling something else, right? Everywhere you go, someone's always selling you something, but it's actually they're trying to help you. And yeah, obviously they're going to making money. I mean, they're trying to help you and provide value, but at the same time, they're also making a living. But for me, just so you guys all know, it started for me in 1996, actually, when I read this book called Think and Grow Rich. And this was a game changer. And I want to highly recommend you guys read this book. It is an absolute timeless masterpiece. And I'll tell you what, once you read it or get it in an audio on YouTube, you're going to absolutely love this book. Now, the new version of this is now called Think and Grow Rich, the unedited version by Napoleon Hill, and it's red and yellow. You can get this book on Amazon. And shortly thereafter, after I read that book, I went to the Napoleon Hill Foundation and got the rights to make this movie, which is pretty amazing. I never thought that I was sitting there reading this book, that someday, 25 years later, that I would have an opportunity to make a movie out of this amazing book, okay? Now, we've been doing Friday nights, we've been doing some movie screenings for a lot of people, and people have said that, you know, they can't get on Friday night for whatever reasons, different things that are going on. So what I wanted to let you guys know is that you can stream this anytime you want. Basically, it's $5. You just got to go to johnshinmovie.com and you can download this and watch it, you know, with your family, your kids. It is a family movie, and I highly recommend that you get your teenagers to watch this as well. And it'll maybe give them some direction more than just playing games. Now, look, I'm not like anti-games. If you're young and you're joining us, I don't want to say that it's I don't like the idea of you gaming, but I think that there's more to life than just gaming, right? So this might give you a different direction to give you an idea of what are the things that you can possibly do, okay? So there you go. And then after we did this, I don't know, Anna, if you noticed this right here, but this pops up before that. But anyway, Think and Grow Rich. Shortly thereafter, there was a book called Think and Grow Rich, a Black choice, a Latino choice, a women's choice, and then, of course, the Asian choice finally came out. And so I am the author of How Rich Asians Think and Think and Grow Rich. And so this is also available right now. You could read it. You can also get it on Amazon, wherever you'd like. But look at all these amazing people that are in this book, from Elon Musk to Jack Ma, Penny Oy, Vera Wang, Dwayne Johnson, Raja Dhaliwal, Steve Aoki, Jamie Villalobos, Kevin Harrington, and the list continues to go on. So this person down below, Jamie Villalobos, will actually be on this coming Saturday if you want to hear her story and what are her secrets to becoming successful. And so again, if you want, you can get on audio. It's officially now on Audible on Amazon.com. Okay. So then after I did the movie, I did the book, we went on a world tour. We started this last year. We were going to go to 12 countries. This year, right now, I think we're supposed to be in Europe or Asia, and all our trips have completely come to a screeching halt for obvious reasons, right? We were supposed to go to 33 states. We did go to quite a bit. I'm not quite sure if we hit all 33, but it's been one of the greatest experiences I've ever had to be able to meet the people that I did and to be able to serve the people around this country and giving them knowledge and different skills on how they can grow their business. So along my journey in doing all this stuff, I basically had an opportunity to meet people like Condoleezza Rice, who I shared the stage with. Barbara Corcoran was someone from the Shark Tank, one of the judges, or one of the sharks, I should say, from the TV show called Shark Tank. And let's see, the list goes on. Martin Sheen, let's see, Rob Dyrdek, Stedman Graham. I love sharing this picture with you guys because Stedman, for those of you that don't know who Stedman Graham is, this is Oprah Winfrey's significant other, spiritual partner, business partner. And Stedman, by the way, was a former basketball player. And as a basketball player, you know, he's, I don't know, probably 6'7", 6'8". And for those of you that don't know how tall I am not 6 something. I am 5 foot 8 inches tall. And let's say it's 8 inches, okay? Some people think I'm 5'2", Anna. And so I just, it's funny, Anna's sitting beside me. But no, I'm 5'8", and so it's obviously there's a discrepancy in height. If I'm 5'8" and he's 6'8", how is it that I'm actually taller than him in this picture? It's really simple, because that is the beauty of having folding chairs, right? So I got folding chairs right here, and Stedman's such an amazing guy. He's at my house, and that's my son in the background, and he's photo bombing. So I love this picture. It's funny because, you know, I just recently texted Stedman and sent him these two pictures as a reminder. And he said his whole life, he said he's never had anybody do this to him before. First time ever. So get a kick out of it. But Steve Aoki, who's come to become a really good friend also. Mario Lopez. We're doing some big things with Mario Lopez right now. We're co-authoring a book. We're sharing the stage and hosting events together. Last year, I truly had the honor, both my wife and I, we got knighted by the Royal Order of Constantine the Great and St. Helen, and that was last year, September 14th. And of course, this is my wife, my beautiful wife, and she was also knighted. So she's now called Dame Arlene or Lady Arlene, depending if you're from England or Europe, kind of depends, right? But the bottom line is, I'm sharing all this with you because, you know, obviously my life has really changed. I mean, I never thought any of this stuff could happen to me or for me, but I want you guys to know that things can happen for you. All these things that happen to us, which is one of the questions I get from people, is how did this all happen? And I'm sharing this with you not to be braggadocious, right? But to let you know that your life could be different. Like, I mean, just instantaneously, your life can be different. And what I want you guys to know and how this all happened to us is, number one, is that we pray. It's amazing how God works, right? God works in mysterious ways. But here's what I know is that when you pray and you ask for things to God, and you say, God, you know, send me $1 million, right? Or God, you know, whatever it is that you want. Do you ever wonder that maybe God may be sending you what you're asking for in a different package, right? I mean, you ever sit there and think about that? So let me, do you really think that when you say, God, please send me $1 million, that he is going to put in a briefcase, a bunch of Ben Franklins, and actually FedEx to your house, right? I mean, I don't think that's how God works. God works in very mysterious ways. And so what I want you to know, that when you're asking for something, he's, you know, responding to your question or your inquiry, right? Or your request. And whatever it is, I believe that he sends it to you in a different package. And I think that tonight, you coming on this webinar with us could be that different package, right? Whatever it is, I don't know. I think that in the next 45 minutes, there's going to be something that I share with you that I think will really resonate, and it could be it. I hope it will. I mean, I don't know, I don't guarantee it, but I mean, I hope it will, right? But there's a reason you're here. I mean, think about it. 335 million people in the United States, and you're on this webinar with us right now. So again, I want to tell you how grateful I am that you joined us tonight. But one of the things I want you to do is I want you to start to learn to ask without fear. Ask without fear, okay? So that's one thing. If I had a whole lot of time to spend on this one slide alone, I would definitely do it. But I just want you guys to know that you have to learn how to ask without, you know, having the fear of rejection or someone thinking differently about you or whatever it is, right? So that's one takeaway, hopefully today, that you ask. And whatever challenges that you might be having right now, whether it's financial challenges, physical, mental, emotional, relationships, I mean, everything that's going on, spiritual challenges, I just want you guys to know that there's nothing wrong with you having these challenges, right? It's not like, you know, like you're the only one having this. And I don't mean to say like you're the only one. I'm trying to be insensitive. What I'm trying to get you to understand is that I think everyone, in fact, right now, I don't know, there's over 300 people that are on this webinar right now. And these 300 people, they're all going through something, right? I can tell you there's 335 million people in the United States, and everyone's dealing and fighting or combating something. And so it's okay to ask and say, hey, listen, I need some help. I'm in debt, right? I lost my job. I don't know what to say. And you don't have to be embarrassed about it. Don't be ashamed about it. If you're having some difficulty, that's why I said ask without fear, okay? Now, having said all that, another reason why all this happened for us is I think timing. Timing was almost impeccable for us. I mean, I believe that timing is everything. And right now, with this whole COVID-19, and listen, I understand that businesses are opening up. I do recognize that some pictures I've seen that people sent me where they're partying at pools and different beaches and all that. Some are very, they're being still socially responsible and they're social distancing. But then there's other pictures I saw that, there's people literally like sardines in a room. And it's unfortunate that, there's so much disregard to other people, and to their own family members and people they love. I can tell you that in those rooms, that even though you may not think that you have the COVID-19, that you could have been a carrier. And, I mean, if you were there or if you know anybody's there, I hope they would be responsible to at least quarantine themselves, for 14 days, or go get themselves a test and make sure that they're not spreading that, because I can tell you with that many people in a room, somebody probably had the virus and was spreading it. And this whole thing about COVID-19, I mean, despite what you believe, it's real. Okay, I don't want you to think it's fake, that it's only targeting people who are 80 years of age and older, because I do know people who are younger. In fact, today, a friend of mine called me today and told me that he did lose his father. Now, his father was 80 years old, so kind of coincidental there. But it is hitting people under the age of 80. And so I would tell you to just still be cautious, still be responsible, wear a mask, and do the things you were doing until we can further contain this epidemic. So, but anyway, I didn't mean to digress there, but I just want you guys to know it's just my 2 cents. But timing was everything, right? And what I mean by that is that there are 76 million baby boomers born between 1946 and 1964. Now, during this 1946-64, within those 18 years, it's really interesting, and I don't think it was just coincidence that in the mid-40s, all the companies that were doing well were all baby related, right? I mean, it's 80 million babies, right, that were born, a range. I'm kind of like rounding up, right? I mean, if you read some people's numbers, 76 million, some people 77, some people 78. Now it's like, there were people that were undocumented and those people are now here. That's 80 million. So somewhere between 76 and 80 million people wanted baby products. Why? Because that's what babies do. When you're born, what do babies do, right? And then after that, shortly after that, we had Johnson & Johnson. And then after that, it was toys, Mattel Corporation and Hasbro. And then the babies got a little bit older, and then they wanted fast food, and McDonald's emerged. And then you had cars, and then that was Chrysler. And then you had technology, and then you had real estate. And now here we are, we're now in the retirement segment, right? So we kind of followed the trend of the baby boomers. And I want you to know that even though I started this thing 25 years ago, like I literally started in 1995 in the financial service industry, and my wife, who introduced me to this, actually started in 1994. So people will say, well, gosh, I wish I would have started this, John, timing-wise, like you did 25 years ago. But in reality, that's actually a mistake. I think the timing is actually better now because there's a greater need now, and we have a larger population now. And it's not just the baby boomers. Now we got the baby boomers, we have the Gen X, we have the Gen Y, the millennials, and even like the Gen Zs, who are now getting to age where they should start saving money for their future. So we're at the right place at the right time. You're at the right place at the right time. And I ask people, when you're sick, where do you go, right? Where do you go for help? And most people tell me they go to a hospital, right? And so when you go to a hospital, and you go to when you go to a hospital like a Kaiser or something, you have what they call a primary care physician, right? You see a doctor, a PCP. And so, you know, when you have other issues other than normal primary care that your doctor can give you some sort of antibiotics, you want to go that your primary care physician then tells you to go see specialists. So they're going to tell you to go to see a radiologist or a gynecologist or a pediatrician or an oncologist, neurologist, cardiologist, endocrinologist, dermatologist, allergist, ophthalmologist. I mean, there's so many ologists out there, right? And so you go see a doctor, okay? Now, having said all that, you know, your primary care is not an expert in any of those one areas. So what we did is we created our own hospital, if you will, and it's basically a financial hospital, right? So what we do and who we are is very much like a doctor and going to the hospital. We have specialists that specialize in loans, that have all these different products and services. And what's interesting about this is when we started our mortgage business back in 1991, you'll notice right here, this is a uniform residential loan application. Now, this is an application that everybody fills out. And if you look right here, you'll see that there's stocks and bonds. And I apologize, we're going to make this bigger for you guys next time. But you'll see, you know, there's questions about life insurance and retirement and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people don't even know what they have. So what we ended up doing is we started to expand our business, and that's when we started adding all those different products and services, right? So now we actually offer merchant services. We offer property and casualty. We've got different types of insurance products, annuity products, college planning, retirement solutions. We got investment advisory services, business and tax planning. And I want to spend a couple of minutes on tax planning, right? So right now, one of the questions that everybody's asking about is, what should I do with my 401k money? Or should I still contribute into my 401k, et cetera, et cetera? So let me spend a couple of minutes on the value of tax planning, right? And so here we go. So my question for most people is, what do you think is going to happen to taxes? Do you think it's going to go up, or do you think it's going to go down? Or maybe some people have said that it won't even go up or down, that it's going to be a constant, right? It's going to be a fixed tax bracket for all income levels. And I don't ever see that really happening in this lifetime. I think in my opinion, I think taxes are at their all-time low right now. And I believe that taxes are going to go up. So, you know, down below, if you guys look at your bottom of your screen, you'll see a couple buttons. One's like a comment, Q&A, and then another one, it's a thumbs up, or what you call like that. It's where you raise your hand, right? So I'm just kind of curious, how many of you guys think that taxes are going to go up? Hands up high, right? Okay, and it's like going up like crazy. Look at all these numbers going up. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I know I can see it on my end. You guys can't see it, but it's skyrocketing, right? How many of you guys think the taxes are going to go down? Okay. And then how many of you guys will not raise your hand or click that button no matter what I ask? Okay, hands are going up anyway, right? So, all right, so here we go. We know that taxes are either going to go up or down. So in my opinion, I think they're going to go up because we're already at our all-time low. And obviously we have a national debt crisis, right? It's not like you're the only one in debt. Our nation's in debt, okay, by trillions and trillions of dollars. And so what I want to talk to you guys about are the 3 available tax strategies. And so the first one is called tax deductible. The second one is, what's going on here? Tax deferred. And then the third one is tax-free income. So these are your 3 available tax strategies. Okay, so let's talk about that real quickly. So the question that people ask is, can you ever have all 3? And the answer is, yes and no, but we're not going to have time to get into that. But I am going to give you what your 401k plan does. So typically, let's assume that somebody wanted to invest their money for 30 years at 12%, right? This is what Ben Franklin said. He says, the magic of compounding. He says, money makes money, and the money makes more money, right? So makes more money. So I love what Ben Franklin said, his definition and description of compound interest. So let's assume for a moment that you're putting in $2,000 a month right here, okay? And of course, it's no tax planning. You're putting in $2,000. You take a tax deduction, okay? And down below here, you'll see it says 18,000. Why? Because if you put in $2,000, oh no, I'm going to go back. So let's talk about that. And the money grows tax deferred. You'll see here, $2,000 for 30 years is 60,000. That's in red. And then this one down here, if you're in a $2,000, if you're in a 30% tax bracket and you're saving $600 a year, 600 times 30 years would be what? 18,000. Over a 30-year period, that would grow to 540,000. Just so you guys can see that. Okay. So now you take strategy 2, where you take the same $2,000, do a little bit of tax planning, okay? And what that money right there is essentially is buying a life insurance policy. But now you put in $1,800, and now over 30 years, it grows to $486. Now, remember, you put in the same amount of money, and in terms of the initial tax savings, it basically comes to 0. So you got no tax savings here in the front, and you have 18,000 here on the front. Both the money grows tax deferred, but here's where the big part comes out. It's when you start taking money out, okay? So when you're taking money out, you forego tax-free, but here you forego only tax deduction. Let me show you what that looks like, right? So let's take the 486 and the 540 and put that right here. If you took a lump sum distribution on 540,000 or 486, your chances are you're going to be in a 40% tax bracket, federal and state, and you'll end up paying 324,000 or 437,000. Here you pay the 216 taxes. Here you pay none. Okay, option 2. And here you net out 324, and here you have 437. And so basically, by taking option 2, you increase your portfolio by 35%, and you've got an extra $113,000. Now, in my opinion, most people will not take a lump sum distribution, but they're going to take a monthly annual distribution. So here, let's say you did the 540, just like we did over here, but now you're only going to take out 10%, so you took out 54,000. Then you've got to pay taxes on that, right, at 21,000. Then you net out 32, whereas over here you pay nothing, and you have $48,000 here, and now you got an income of $4,054 versus $2,700. And now guess what? It's an additional $1,352, which is an increase of almost 50%. Okay. So now this is kind of like the whole page, what I want you guys to understand. The strategy 1, just so you all know, is a 401k plan, or it's a 403b. Strategy 2 is what we refer to as an IUL. Okay, an IUL. So this is the difference. And if you want to know more about the difference between strategy 1 and strategy 2, this is the growth phase. You can see that in green. And then down here, the income phase is here in this section. So I just want you guys to understand the value of these products called IULs or VULs, and get with the person who invited you, and you'll learn more about that. Now, today, I don't have the opportunity to get into this part, which is, can you get all 3? And the answer is yes, you can actually get all 3. And right here, you'll see our full spectrum of services that we offer. So we have a lot of specialists, and this is what we do. And this is why I want you to know why I got into this industry, because we're an industry that requires needs versus luxury, right? So for instance, I believe that financial literacy is an absolute necessity. And you can see this because right now in 2012, 37 states required sex education, and only 4 states required financial literacy. You'll see in 3 years, in 2015, we added 1 state right here, which is Alabama. So the good news is we're making some progress, but the progress isn't fast enough. Now, you'll notice that in 2020, we added 2 more states, which is Iowa and North Carolina. So now we've got, we can count on both our hands how many states do require financial literacy courses. And so I am a firm believer of the 6 steps to financial security. This is what we built our company on are these 6 basic foundational principles of financial security. And number 1 is to increase cash flow, right? Number 2 is managing your debt, emergency funds, having proper protection, creating a long-term savings account, and then of course preserving your assets or your estate. So maybe one of these things is something that's important to you. I don't know if it is or it isn't, but I hope it is. And right here, I just want you to know that I come with a lot of experience. I mean, I come with a background. I went to USC, the University of Southern Cal, got my undergraduate degree in business there, got my MBA. I also have a doctorate degree in law. I've got a JD. And so I've invested in a lot of different businesses. And just to kind of give you an idea, I mean, this kind of gives you my experience in all the different industries I've gone into. And so I've done everything from solar panels to wigs to bath bombs to writing books to starting a valet parking company to financial services and real estate. I think I have a pretty broad spectrum of experience. And having said all that, the reason I got into financial services is because of passive and residual income. So when I say passive income, if you don't know the difference, passive income is income that you make without doing any work, right? It's often comes from investments that you already made. Things like stocks, rental properties, annuities, high yield savings accounts, whatever it is. Now, if none of this stuff like annuities or high yield, accounts mean anything to you, more reason why you got to become financially literate, right? So one of the reasons why I like residual income, and residual income is income that you receive after a sale, or when you continue after, where income will continue to come after a sale. So some examples of that is writing a book, becoming an author, making a movie, becoming a songwriter or singer, financial services. And so you'll see I highlighted financial services because that's my core business, right? I love financial services. And people say, why, John? Why do you love financial services? Well, it's really simple. The reason I love it, number 1, is I just told you, residual income, right? The fact that I can get assets under management and having a broker-agent relationship. I can sell my book of business for multiples, 3, 4, 5 times multiples, depending on what someone's willing to pay for your book of business. I like to get educated about money and finance, right? I mean, if you look at most successful people, whether they're an actor or not, like Will Smith or Mark Wahlberg, or how about even Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, okay? The reason why they're so good at what they're at, you might see them as just an actor, but I want you to know they're entrepreneurs, they're business people, right? Incredible, like Jennifer Lopez. You might think that she's just some dancer. She's not just a dancer. I mean, Jennifer Lopez is one of the smartest women I've ever seen and met. I mean, unbelievable, right? What does Jennifer Lopez do? Almost like everything, right? She's got her hands in everything. Dwayne Johnson, right? Steve Aoki. Like, you might think of Steve Aoki as a DJ, but he's not just a DJ. He's an entrepreneur. He's a business person. All these people understand money and finance, believe it or not, okay? Now, the question is, do you? Do you know about money and finance? Like, you might say, I'm good at this or I'm good at that, but are you good with money and finance? Okay. I love teaching other people how money works, right? I love helping families. I love to have fun. And all these things, believe it or not, are things that happen inside my organization, right? Now, I want you to know that, we have a very special guest. He's actually waiting, and he's got to jump on another webinar at 7:30. And he's a surprise guest, and a lot of you, he's probably on the screen already. And this guy is an entrepreneur himself, serial entrepreneur. What can I say about this guy? I can take hours and just kind of giving you an amazing introduction of this man. He just called me just about an hour ago or 45 minutes ago. And I said, yeah, Cash. He goes, hey, you want me to jump on your webinar tonight for a couple minutes? And I'm like, yeah, man, love to have you on here. But this guy's a multi-millionaire. This guy's also got his hands in multiple streams of income. And I just love this guy's intensity, fired up. He's in his house. He's still dressed in a business suit. I mean, I'm in my short pants, everyone. But let's welcome to the call Cash with Stan, or to our webinar. So, Cash, how you doing, brother?
Fired up, John. So excited. Thanks for having me on this call. I just wanted to jump on and first of all, I just wanted to say how grateful I am for you and Arlene. I mean, there's no way there. Every single day when I wake up, that's one of the things on my gratitude list is you and Arlene. And I just want you to know I am so grateful from the bottom of my heart. You've actually changed our life, like literally. We were talking about you guys last night. We had a big conversation and it's just awesome. I love this business and I love the fact that you can actually make a difference in other people's lives, that it just lasts, forever. So just so grateful. So thank you so much for having me on this call. I just wanted to tell everybody a little bit about like what we're doing right now and what they should be doing. It's been absolutely crazy what's happening. We had our best basically recruiting month last month, one of our good production month. Our goal is to do 600,000 points this week. Literally, that's why I said, John, can you come talk to our team? We got to get this thing. So we literally have appointments back to back. One of our guys, John, who's a 2-minute speaker right now, who just started, he's speaking on our call right now. And he came into the team a little bit less than a year ago. And he was in Minnesota and he was alone. There was no trainer, nothing. And he would just come in on our Zoom calls back then and just kind of learn the business doing it. And he's just crushing it right now. Last week, check this out, John, he did 70 appointments.
Wow.
70, right? And this is an associate, right? He turned it on last month, 70 appointments and got 8 business partners, and he's just going at it, right? So I'm like, bro, you got to tell people what you're doing. Like literally he's doing 7 days, 10 appointments a day because he understands, because we've been talking about this. We're like, man, this is a chance of a lifetime for us right now. This will never, ever, ever happen like this again. This business is never going to be as good as what it is right now. With the amount of unemployment we have, with the amount of uncertainty we have, with the awesome freaking product. I was just watching the trainings and literally we're going over trainings tonight. I'm like, look, you guys, we have the best products in the world. And I'm going to be like showing people all my products that I'm saving money into. So I have like 6 IULs, I have a couple of VULs, I have a policy on my parents, got an Everest policy, and got TransAlpha, and got SG Summit Global Investments, and you name it, pretty much everything that we have. I have a Franklin Templeton account, like everything. I remember any product that would come in, I'd be like, I need one. Whether it's a trust, with the Legacy Shield, all of this stuff. And one of the things that also everybody needs to understand, if you want to make money here, is that the more products you have, the more money you're saving, the more money you're going to make. One of our guys, many of you guys know him, his name is Barry Wong, and he got his $250,000 ring as an MD in the base shop. And the reason for that was he basically owned every single product, and every single time he sat down with somebody, he pulled up his accounts and he showed people how much money he was saving. And man, when you show people how much money you're saving, everybody's minds, boom, it just blows up. And you got to have accounts already, by the way, that are, it's ready for you to put money in. And so many times I see people and they come in and they're like, man, I'm gonna be big. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take over. And they have a very small policy, or they're already max funding the policy. You got to create a space for you to be able to come back in. I learned that a little bit after I was in the business, a few years actually after being in the business, because first policy I opened, I put the maximum amount the first year into the policy and I max funded it. So guess what happened when I wanted to open up another, I had to basically go and open up another policy a few years later, 5-6 years later. And basically that policy wasn't as liquid and they had its own surrender period again, versus my first couple of policies, they're all liquid now. It's basically having a checking account with a floor of 0 and a cap of 15% that you can put money into. So I mean, literally, this is what we're talking right now with people. I'm like, man, this is it. This is the time. This is the time to blow it up. This is the time to be talking to everybody. We just brought on board somebody on board, John, last week. He's already making $3 million a year. He's already making $3 million a year, but he saw our business and he's like, man, this business is absolutely awesome. And it's almost scary. I'm like, this is scary. The type of people that we're bringing on board, like the type and the ability that these guys have. And this is what I love, what John's doing and what we're doing, is that like everybody's kind of like running their business like it was 30 years ago, but the business is changing. And man, I love these changes. I love the fact that we're going virtual. And John, check this out. So for example, let me give you an idea. Before this whole thing, 3 months ago, we were only in 5 states. Only in 5 states. Right now, we're in 25 states. In some of the states, we have 18, 20 people already in those states. And,
Wow.
and it's just because the power of the Zoom and it's just so exciting. I mean, we've been talking about this over and over and over. And you know, obviously a lot of people are not getting it, but I wake up every single day and I read my business plan and I tell myself, hey, this is my shot. This is my opportunity. I'm never going to let it go. Just like the Eminem song. Like, this is our shot to change our life forever. We're bringing on the best talents possible right now. Everybody's letting go of their talents. We're bringing the best talents right now. We're recruiting our future CEOs, future EVCs right now. I must give it on everything I got. This is my shot, my opportunity. Like, literally, that's one of my affirmations that I'm reading every single day because of what we have going on. And I've never been as excited that I am. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys. Hopefully you guys are feeling the same thing. Hopefully you're going through the same process and getting yourself excited. People are like, man, I'm down. I'm like, what do you mean you're down? Like, what the heck are you talking about? This is candy time. This is like, let's go get the candies. This is like gold rush. This is gold rush. Just to kind of show people how easy it is. But I went online and I just sent a message to this guy, and I said, hey, what do you do? And he's like, I do this. I was like, hey, I would like to know more about it. So he jumps on a Zoom call with me, and I said, hey, what else do you do? He's like, oh, just this was not in his profile. He's a marketing guy. He's like, what we do is we have a website. It's called Retire Soon Now or something like that. And that's his website. And basically they send people, they market everywhere. They get all these leads and they basically sell them houses in Arizona, not Arizona, in Las Vegas, and they have them go over there. He's like, we have all of these leads. Can we send them to you? We've been looking for a company. I'm like, heck yeah. So recruited the guy, licensed the guy. So I literally just got on the Zoom call. I'm like, people are like, I don't have anybody to talk to. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? I used to stand by a bookstore and by a bookshelf, all the self-improvement people were like, hey, you look sharp. And now you look like a freak. But now it's like so simple. So the guy came on board, and so he calls me up today and he's like, hey, so which one's more profitable, recruiting or production? Because we can get leads for both of them. And I'm like, how many? What do you think? It's like, we think we could do $500, 500 a month leads coming in. I'm like, yeah, that works, right? And that was from a call. So John, I'm so excited, just so fired up. I mean, I got 5 directs last month, and I'm a 40 wide right now in the base shop. And I called Rich. I said, Rich, I'm kind of wide right now. People are complaining at me, so I'm like trying to put people on there and then have them work. So it just, the time is so good, and I'm so grateful for everything. And I hope the people here on this call don't take you for granted because they get to hear from you. Our team is so excited and so fired up to hear from you. Every time they hear from you, they're just blown away and they're fired up and excited and take action. But it's just so easy to take our leadership for granted. So I just ask you, if you're listening to me, please, if there's anything, don't take your leadership for granted. Don't get too close to them either. Don't get too close to them that you feel like they're your friend, and then you don't take their advice.
Yeah.
So, and I know
Well
you
said.
wanted to go for 10 minutes, so I'll give it back to you.
Yeah, Cash. There's a couple things. I'd love to that guy that did the 70 appointments, or he's got that many. Can I get him to jump on with us next week on Tuesday for like
Yeah,
5-10 minutes? Just to we want to hear what he's doing. I'd love to have him on our webinar.
sounds good.
Okay, so that's number one. Number two is what do you call it? What was I going to say? When we normally work out of our offices. I know we all have leases and things like that. And, now that we've kind of experienced the whole digital webinar world, what are your thoughts about having an office, man? Are you going to still keep your office? You're still going to do meetings in your office? Or do you think you're going to continue doing more Zoom calls? What are your thoughts?
Well, here's the thing. We're going to do both. So we're obviously going to keep our office because people need a place to go. So for me, I can sit home because I don't have kids, but I've seen it with our people that they have kids and everything. They can't work at home. They just go crazy. So so this is just what we're doing. So we are going back to the office. We do have office. We're going to go back in there. Not everybody's going to come in, and that's fine. We don't care. I don't care about it at all. That's okay. But all the leaders will come in because they want that environment. They want that energy. The right people want to be in that environment with that in that area. So that's my thing. And this whole Corona thing, I posted a video on my Instagram from Tony Robbins that Tony Robbins just went on and interviewed, because I was just waiting for this to come out. Tony Robbins went and interviewed the most Nobel winners, the best physicians in the world, and they talked about this whole Corona situation. Is just fascinating what they found out and how they were pumping up the numbers. And check this out. The chances of somebody under 60 dying from coronavirus is 0.002. Like it's so low, and that's if you get it. Like chances of dying is 0.002. Like it's just absolutely crazy. It's pretty much close by to getting hit by a bus. So it's just crazy, and how the media blows it up, and that's fine. I like people to be scared. By the way, I was happy, right? I was like, I hope people are more scared. The more scared, the better. The more scared, the better it is for our business. But it's crazy. So, John, to be honest, we're going back, but I love the nature of our business and the fact that we could do it on Zoom. The fact that we could be in Cancun and sell the dream to our team and go over there and do the BPM over there. I love the fact that I can go in every state now and run my base shop meeting and go to my office in Arizona and run our meeting there, and all the guys here, they see it, and I don't have to miss my base shop, because that was one of my things. I was like, if I go to that state, man, these guys are gonna die. But now I could go there and do my trainings here and still spend time with those guys. So anyway, I don't know.
I totally agree with you, Cash. That's great. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me, and I'm going to jump on your call tonight at what did I say, like 9 o'clock or something?
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
It's 8:59.
Yep, I'll be on there tonight, brother. I look forward to it. Thanks for jumping
All right.
on.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Well, there you go, you guys. That was Cash Rastan. That guy, his level of intensity is crazy. But let me continue my presentation so you guys can see this real fast. And this is where I left off, right here. So we're talking about what you can do without a license. So actually, I said, why financial services? You guys remember this? And I told you all the reasons why financial services, and I still stand by this, you guys, So what can you do without a license? So some people say, John, I'm not a good test taker, this and that. Hey, I totally get it. But here's the good news. We give you the questions and answers. I mean, how's that? I mean, we get the questions from the state of California. They call them practice questions, but in reality, they're like identical questions. And all you got to do in California is 60% is a passing ratio. So, but if you can't get the license, you can still make money. Let me tell you, you can make money doing loans, residential, commercial, business, SBA, hard money, lines of credit, right? So these are all the different products that you can sell without a license right now with us, right? Because we're a direct lender. Also, if you want to do credit card processing, all these different products that we can do with the credit card processing part of our business, right? Same thing, no license required. ATM machines, all this is through our credit card merchant processing through GMI. So it's another separate company, right? We also do branding and creating websites and SEO and logos and building social media and building your brand as well. I just can't stress how important it is for you to build your own brand. We have home systems where you can actually do window security films and security windows where you can do screens and solar panels and doing alarm systems with a company called Skyline and Brinks, right? So these are all products that we can offer through our affiliates, okay, programs. But once you get your license, right, and you do have a life and health license, look at all the different products you can offer: term, whole, universal, single, index universal, single pay premium, life insurance premium financing, right? In fact, I think this coming Thursday, is it this Thursday or next Thursday? So yeah, so next Thursday, June 4th, I'm actually going to be talking about life premium financing, and this is a one that you don't want to miss, right? Retirement accounts and Roth. This is if you still have just your life and health license. You can set up 401k plans and pensions and key person and executive bonus plans and split dollar plans. So these are all products that you can sell, right? Other insurance things that you could sell if you want. You can go sell health insurance, disability, long-term care. We've got annuities called SPIAs and fixed annuities and index annuities, right? And then if you went and get your securities license, right, then you can, with your Series 6 and 63 license, then you can start selling mutual funds and different kind of share classes, right? And then you can also offer annuities and variable universal life. You can also offer bonds and money market accounts. And then if you go and get your Series 65 license, right, then you can start doing UITs and ETFs and no-loaded mutual funds and institutional management and actively managed portfolios, right? I mean, do you understand that there is no other financial marketing distribution company in the United States, or North America for that matter, that has all these things that I just shared with you? It has taken us almost 30 years to build this platform that is now available for you to just plug and play, right? Because when I say plug and play, it's because we've got all the systems in place, not just one system, but we got multiple systems in place, right? And so I want you to know the word system basically stands for save yourself some time, energy, and money, because we got it all down to a science now, right? Like literally a predictable science, in my opinion, where we've got, you know, the business format system, we've got the financial format system, the licensing format system, personal development system, the leadership format system, and now we're even fine-tuning the virtual format system, which is what we're doing right now. In probably 5 years or less. Notice what I just said, in 5 years or less, and I predict probably in the next 2 years or 3 years, we're going to start being able to do meetings holographically. Did you guys hear what I just said? Holograms. I don't remember if you ever watched the first movie called Star Wars, where R2-D2, right, the little guy comes out and he's like this robot, and it was a message that Obi-Wan Kenobi, some of you guys will remember this scene, right, where Princess Leia comes out and she's a hologram. She says, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I need your help. Do you guys remember that? Obi-Wan Kenobi, we need your help. Well, guess what? I feel like right now people are crying out around the United States, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I need your help. But Obi-Wan Kenobi is, you know, maybe it is a fictitious character in this movie called Star Wars. And I want you guys to know it is fictitious, right? Some of you are like, no, it's not, John. Okay, well, I'm not here to argue with you, but in my opinion, it's fictitious, right? But we're not fictitious. We're real. And people are crying out for our help right now. And so this is so key right now for you guys. If you're here for the very first time, jump on this boat, because you don't want to miss this. You're going to, excuse me, you will literally regret probably 5, 10 years from today, you will regret that you didn't jump on this opportunity, right? It's kind of like when Ray Kroc was trying to tell everybody about the story behind McDonald's, right? Or when Jeff Bezos was telling everybody about his story of Amazon, or Zuckerberg telling everybody about Facebook, right? Or the people who started Uber and Lyft, right? And people said, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Well, let me tell you, folks, it's going to work, because last year we paid out almost 1 billion. Let me just say that one more time. That is not an exaggeration. We paid out almost $1 billion in compensation last year. So we are no small little guy in the industry. We are someone to reckon with. I just want you to know that. And you know, I love, and I encourage all of you guys to do the same thing. Please email me, right? Email me at John at TGR Mastermind, John at TGRmastermind.com. Questions that you might have. In fact, one lady, her name is Lydia, excuse me, just texted me and said, not texted, emailed me last week and said, what is the single most important thing that you would say contributed to your growth since the COVID lockdown? So what's happening in the last 2 months? And so one of these slides, a guy named Victor Wong, a friend of mine up in North America, up in Vancouver, Canada, Victor Wong sent me this. He sent me a text message, and then of course Anna, who does an amazing job with all my PowerPoints, she put up there, so she designs all this. I don't want to take any credit for all these PowerPoints, because a lot of you said, oh, I've really enjoyed your PowerPoints. It's beautiful. I like the new look and all. Listen, I'd love to take all the credit for it, but I don't. Anna spends countless hours, like literally 20 hours a day, putting all this stuff together for me. And she put this up and said, if you don't come out of this quarantine, folks, with a new skill, a new knowledge, a new side hustle or business, then folks, you never lacked time, but you lacked discipline, right? So you lacked discipline. And someone actually, and maybe you can make a comment if you know who that person was, and I totally forgot who it was. But no, it was actually somebody else said, how do you get discipline, right? So I actually showed this slide a couple weeks ago, and they said, I love that. He said, I like the fact that you wrote that in there, but I want to learn a new skill. I want to get new knowledge. I want to learn a new side hustle. And you're right, I do have time, but I feel like I don't have discipline, right? So who was it? Was it Alex Reed? Okay, so maybe it was Alex Reed. And I hope you're listening, brother, because Alex, I'm doing this next segment for you because you actually asked me that. I think you DM'd me on Instagram, is how do you get more self-discipline, right? More self-discipline. So let me just tell you something. Most people want to avoid pain, right? I mean, it's natural. Like, who wants pain? Like, no one wants more pain, right? And they avoid the pain, and the discipline is usually painful, right? To have more pain, more discipline is going to cause a little bit of disruption in your activities, right? So obviously we avoid it. So I love this right here. It says discipline is the bridge. It's the bridge between your goals and your accomplishments, right? So without discipline, folks, I'm telling you, you're going to really struggle, not just in this business, but I think you're going to struggle in life, right? I mean, you're going to struggle academically, right? Your children, if they don't have discipline, and you as a parent don't inject a massive amount of discipline into your children, I don't mean to offend anybody, but hey, I don't think it's going to look very good for your children if they don't have discipline, okay? So let me just tell you the 10 effective ways to maintain self-discipline, okay? Now listen, I'm going over time just a little bit, so forgive me. So I'm going to spend just another 15 minutes because I usually want to do these calls to about an hour, because I know I want you to go and spend some time with your family, and your husband, wife, or domestic partner is probably cooking up a nice meal for you guys right now, and you can probably smell it. And some of you guys, we can't even see you right now, so You might even be eating and watching this on your TV screen. I mean, I don't know. But the bottom line is, I want you to know, to have an effective, 10 ways to have effective ways to maintain self-discipline. So let's talk about that. Number one, okay, is you got to have a purpose, folks. Your purpose has to be your driving force, okay? And if you don't have purpose, right, and that's another question to answer, is how do you develop or find your purpose, right? And that, there's so many things that, you know, we can talk about. And how about if I throw that in next week on Tuesday? So next Tuesday, I'm going to show you the ways that you find your purpose, okay? So that, hopefully you'll tune in for that. Let's talk about that. But man, your purpose has got to be your driving force. I have found my purpose in life. So even though I'm quarantined in my own house, I feel like I haven't gone out anywhere in the last 8 weeks or 2.5 months. I'm okay with it, man. I'm like sitting in my house, loving what I'm doing. I love talking to you guys right now. I wish I can high five you. I wish I can hug every single one of you guys. But right now, this is my purpose. I found my purpose, and thank God I found it, right? And so, so number two is this: focus on the benefits, right? So if you go and find your purpose and you do what you're supposed to do, what are the benefits? Keeps telling yourself the benefits of self-discipline and control, and your mind will, and your body will begin to achieve your goals, right? Because you're thinking about it all the time, right? So again, when I want to be careful that what I just said, that you don't take that in like literally, where if you just think about it, you know, then all of a sudden all these things are going to happen for you. It doesn't work that way, right? So, but if you start telling yourself the benefits, that if I do this, oh my God, I'm going to get that, right? So, you know, in the early part of my career in 1995, I wanted to be rich. Like, I flat out wanted to be super uber wealthy because I wanted to retire my parents, right? I just wanted my parents to have one of the greatest lives ever, because we all have just one life on this planet, right? And that one life that God gave you, he wants you to make the best of it, okay? And so, oh gosh, you know, every time I talk about my parents, you know, I choke up just a little bit, because that was my driving force. Like, if I go and work my fanny off today, guess what? The benefit is I can make a lot of money, retire my mom and my dad, right? Because I love them both immensely, right? If I make all this money, I can send my kids to the college of their choice if they want to go to college and get an education at a collegiate level, right? If I make all this money, I can get rid of all my debt, right? So getting out of debt was so painful for me, because I had a lot of debt, right? I mean, I had $500,000 in debt between my wife and I. Between her student loans and my student loans and our credit card debt, we had about $500,000 in debt. That is not an exaggeration. It was so painful for me that I knew that if I had more discipline and if I went and did this thing, I'll get myself debt free, right? So this is why I want you to focus on the benefits of having discipline, all right? Number three is have a plan, right? So it's easier to know how you're going to attack what you're going to. A lot of times people don't want to do something. They're like, I don't even know where to start, right? It's like, where do I start? Some people start and they start cleaning up their desk and organizing their drawers and sharpening their pencils, and then they don't do anything, right? And then 2 weeks later, they're like, they come back and do it again. They're re-cleaning their table. They just threw everything on that table, right? So you're constantly cleaning your table, but you're not being productive because you didn't really have a plan. Okay, cleaning your table is not going to help you go and execute your discipline, okay? But you got to have a plan. So 1 minute in planning, believe it or not, saves 2 minutes in execution. So I'm a huge planner. Like, you have no idea. When I went on a tour for my Think and Grow Rich tour, you have no idea. It took me almost a year to plan it all out before I went and executed what I wanted to do, okay? So having a plan is critical. Number four is this. Avoid temptations, right? So maybe it's like you're trying to diet, and you're trying to get healthier, trying to reduce your A1C, right? Your diabetes score, you know, I call it your diabetes score, and you want to get down low. Well, avoid the temptations, right? Because if you're sitting there, right, and the best way to avoid, you know, these triggers and temptations, is to hide them in hard to find places or not having them at all. So if you're trying to lose weight and cut out sugar, why buy the stuff that has sugar in it, right? Get rid of all that pasta. Get rid of the white rice, which is like, oh my God, did John just say white rice? Especially talking to an audience of people who, a lot of Asians probably on this call or webinar, and I'm telling you to not eat rice. Well, yeah, like get rid of the rice, right? Maybe if you really love rice, go to brown rice for a little bit. Cut out the hamburgers. The white, the buns. Whatever it is, cut out, get rid of the sugars, okay? Get rid of the soft drinks, the Coca-Colas and things like that. Folks, I'm telling you, get yourself out of temptation, right? Some of you guys are like glued to TV. Well, how about this? Get rid of your TV. Like seriously, like just get rid of it. Like just go stick it in a box in your garage and and just get rid of it. Give it away. Give it to the Salvation Army or whatever, right? Because then you got nothing to watch on. TV on. So get rid of your cable TV. So that's what I mean by avoid temptations. Number 5, surrounding yourself. Surroundings do matter. That's 2 R's right there. Typo on it. Surroundings do matter. Absolutely. There's correct surround, right? If you surround yourself with disciplined people, you're going to be like them sooner than later, right? Let me give you an example. Like my wife and my daughters, they walk around our community. We live in a gated community, and they walk around every day, right? So Arlene, my wife, doesn't want to go by herself, right? And one of my daughters doesn't want to go by themselves. But then all of a sudden, like if 2 of them say we're going to go walk, guess what? They all go, right? So it's like this group thing, and they all go and they do their 5-mile walk, and then they come back, right? So again, who you associate with, your self-discipline, your surroundings, you being on this call or webinar right now has a lot to do with your surroundings, right? Are you talking to people who are sitting there and saying, hey, get on to some game and let's start gaming each other and play fork knife, right? If you start talking to people like that, guess what you're going to do? You're going to play fork knife, okay? But if you're saying, hey, let's go and start a business, let's go and get our licenses, let's study for this together, and you do this group thing, of course that's going to have an impact, right? Number 6, get help from friends. Ask your friends to stop you when you're indulging in bad habits that will ruin your self-discipline, right? So I do certain things in my house that become maybe some, by the way, everything I'm telling you guys this doesn't mean that I'm perfect either, right? By no means am I sitting on this webinar and saying, you guys, I know I have discipline. I got no issues with any of that kind of stuff. We're all human beings. And so we kind of slack back. And I always told my wife, if you see me kind of losing discipline, where I don't want to get on Zooms and I don't want to make phone calls, I don't want to follow up with anybody, I don't want to go do presentations, I said, can you do me a favor and put me in check? And she does, right? So not my friends, but my wife is the one who's holding me accountable in my own house. That's why partnerships are so important as well, right? Number 7, visual reminders, okay? Spread visual cues around your house, apartment, wherever, and which will keep reminding you to maintain self-control, right? Visual reminders. Like I have on my phone, right? Multiple alarms that I set throughout my day that I set up. I didn't set up throughout the day. I have set up for the day that I set up the night before. Does that make sense, right? And like I have something that says, beep, like it alarms and it says it's time to get a little snack, right? Because I'm trying to do the every 2 hours, like eat a little something. And so every 2 hours, I might be on a Zoom and I'm chomping on a little bar or something, right? So it's a reminder. It reminds me to call somebody or text somebody, to send them a birthday wish or whatever it is, right? Visual reminders to do it, okay? Go do it, right? Like in a few minutes or a few hours, it's going to tell me, hey, go and do a few exercise things, right? So it's a constant reminder. It's all done via my cell phone, all right? Number 8, give yourself a break, okay? Reward yourself with treats and breaks if you have managed to achieve your self-discipline goals, right? So I tell myself, well, I'm going to do so much activity for the week, and if I do that, the next week, I'm really going to enjoy my weekend, right? So I do give myself a break. I do reward myself. A couple days ago, it was yesterday, right? My youngest son, Andrew, basically said, hey, Dad, he goes, let's go take the Ferraris out and the Lambos. I mean, you deserve it. Let's go cruise around the Malibu canyons, right? And of course, he said, he said, let's do that after dinner. Now, it got a little bit late and we didn't actually do it, but I said, hey, we'll do it if I can do this, 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 and this. So I don't feel guilty doing some of these things that I want to do and have some fun, all right? Number 9, move on, man. If you fail to maintain self-discipline, don't fret over it. Don't worry about it. You know, forgive yourself and move on. Like if you said, okay, today I didn't get on the treadmill. I didn't work out like I was supposed to, right? I was supposed to do chest today, or I was supposed to do arms today. It's okay. Move on. Just do it again and just double it next time. Does that make sense, right? Because that's how you penalize yourself, is you don't get to not do it. You still got to do it, but now you got to double time it. Does that make sense, right? So if I was supposed to make 10 phone calls today and I just didn't do it, it was just like one of those days. I didn't feel it. I didn't have the energy. I don't know, something I ate. I didn't get enough sleep. I wasn't feeling good. It's okay. I move on. I forgive myself. But guess what I'm going to do tomorrow? I want to make 20 phone calls, right? And if I got sick tomorrow and I'm getting sick for 2 days, on my 3rd day, then guess what? I got to do like triple the amount of work, right? And then quadruple if I go 4 days, and on and on and on, right? So now I don't even take a vacation because I don't deserve it, because I didn't do what I was supposed to do, right? And finally, guys, right here, eat healthy and sleep well, right? It's hard to put a massive amount of discipline in yourself if your diet sucks and you're eating crappy food and your sleeping habits suck. Let me tell you something. You need to give yourself 6 to 8 hours. Everyone will say, oh, I mean, not everyone. A lot of people say to me, John, I'm good with 5 hours, right? I'm good with like 5.5. I'm good with 4. Well, be careful, okay? Because your body needs to regenerate, okay? And if your body doesn't, now, hey, listen, I said 6 to 8 hours, not 10, not 12, all that kind of stuff, right? And then you hear people say, well, I take naps during the day. That means that that person who takes a nap, that's how they're programmed. That's just the way they're wired, right? Not everybody needs it. It is not a necessity to take a nap. Sometimes when you're taking naps, it just means that your body isn't resting. You're not getting the proper rest during the 6 to 8 hours. Now you're saying, what the hell, John? What are you, some sleep specialist now? No, I've actually talked to a lot of sleep doctors, right? Not that I've got a sleeping problem, but I've actually met with these people to find out how does the mind think, right? How do I work at my most efficient level? How do I get into REM? You know, all that kind of stuff, right? Is my pillow, my bed, all that kind of stuff important? I wanted to know those things, right? Because I don't take naps, just so you guys all know. But I know people, Raul, who takes naps like all day. Does that make sense, right? And I was like, God, is there something wrong with me? Like, I know a lot of people take naps, but I don't take naps. Some of you guys, you know who you are. You're a napper. And so I've got some friends who are sleep doctors, and I ask them, right? Hey, I don't take naps. Is there something wrong with me? Like, do I need it? And he goes, no. Like, that's just the way you're wired, right? And, my wife, okay, she was blessed, right, that she can actually just go into her bed, put her head down, and within 30 seconds, I mean, she's out cold, man. Are you with me on that? I mean, literally, we might be able to have a 10.0 earthquake, and my wife is out. Are you with me? But me, I don't know why, when I get to my room, I'm like up for like another hour, right? I'm texting, right? Planning my day for the next day. Gotta have the TV on. Not that I'm watching TV, but it's just kind of background stuff. And then it takes me hours to fall asleep. And so I said, well, what's the difference? I mean, what's good and what's bad? And these sleep doctors have told me the ones that fall asleep like that, it's actually not good. And I'll tell you why. It's not good is because that means that they're not getting enough rest. And so their body needs it so bad that that's why they're crashing. They're actually working too hard during the day. And so that just kind of gives you an idea of who my wife is, right? Super mom, super wife, just like many of yours, right? So look, it's so important, and I want you to have a good night's rest and live your life well, right? Now, moving on. When another question, and I'll answer this one next week because we're a little bit over time, but some books I want you guys to read. One is Patrick Kelly, The Retirement Miracle. Ben Baldwin's got one called The New Life Insurance Investment Advisor book, and Tony Robbins, right? You guys, I don't get a kickback from any of these guys. I wish I did, but I don't. These are just some recommendations. A lot of people say, John, what are some good financial books I could read? I would really encourage you to do these. Now, in these books, I would tell you not to get the audio, get the hard book cover so you can actually write in it. And I'll actually maybe pull these books next week on Tuesday, and then I'll show you some of the pieces that are in these books that I think are very relevant to what we do, okay? So I want you to know that what I'm talking about and what I do and what I preach about is not just coming from me. Tony Robbins says it, right? Ben Baldwin says it. Patrick Kelly talks about it, okay? Next, some personal development mindset books. Number one is obviously Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki and Sharon Lechter. David Schwartz, Dr. David Schwartz wrote The Magic of Thinking Big. And of course, my book, I think is phenomenal, right? So all three of those are great books to read and get on audio. So folks, listen, again, I just want to remind you guys next week on Wednesday, I've got orientation. Oh shoot, this is actually tomorrow. Oh man, time is flying, right? I don't even know what day it is, right? I'm working literally nonstop. But tomorrow, 2 o'clock, Wednesday, tomorrow, 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I got this orientation going on for you. Again, this coming Saturday, I've got Jamie Villalobos, who is amazing. You'll really enjoy her, and that's a little something on your screen with the Y. And then, yeah, I got Fast Start School coming up this coming Saturday. And again, if you're here for the very first time, thank you so much for joining us. And you should congratulate yourself that you actually stay tuned for an entire hour and a half, 90 minutes with me. I mean, for crying out loud, you don't even know me. And yet, I hope I was providing enough value for you. I was providing enough content for you that you stayed on. And so check this out. Right now, we've got about 370 of you on this call with us. But I want you to get with the person who invited you to learn how to make more money. I want you to get more details on how money works. But here's, please reach out to me, right? I mean, hit me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, and call me, ask me a question. I'd be happy to do that, just like Lydia did here. And I just hope that you join us on all our next webinars. And if you enjoyed the program tonight, go say something on your Instagram story and tell people what you did tonight, right? That you're making some changes in your life right now, and this is what you're doing, and tell people to join in. And we look forward to seeing you. I want to wish a couple happy birthdays to people. Number one is Davy Mendez, Monday 25th. Is Debbie's birthday. If you know Debbie, wish her a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Debbie. And then we also have, I guess we have only one birthday. So that is it, folks. If you want to see any of my other webinars, go to YouTube right now. Follow me. You'll see more content there. God bless every single one of you guys. Continue to wear your face mask. Be nice to people. Be nice. And we'll see you next Saturday. Take care. Or this coming Saturday in a few days.